Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Saturday, November 30th, the day of the week that we take our production time and turn it back to 10 p.m. London time to go ahead and talk about those things that are flying in the sky this week over the United Kingdom. How about that? We don't get many opportunities to talk about UFOs in the UK, but today, my friends, yes, we've got a whole week of great UFO coverage that we're going to be covering and recapping today about all the great things that have been going off over the military bases. More importantly, the military bases of the U.S. Air Force, U.S. Space Force that are located in the United Kingdom. It's amazing what happens when you take nukes and you transplant them to the UK to get there. On that note, let's go ahead. But before I get started, we do have some super chats that came in from our members of our audience. Let's go ahead and thank. We got a first day test one that came up that I can't show from Laura Campbell for $1.99. Then we had one coming in from Shelly Montgomery. Disclosure Tonight is the place to be. And Laura Campbell, there you go. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for the repeat super chat, Laura. I appreciate your love and support of everything we do here on Disclosure Tonight. Now, on to business. On to business. Make that more of a background noise rather than a front channel sound effect. Let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. Who the heck do we have out there? Let's take a look. Let's see. We've got Andrew Donnelly all the way from Ireland. Andy W. from Bristol, UK. Another YouTube account. Uh-oh. Wonder who that could be. April R. Coleman. Brian Pemble's here. How about that? Cypher 1975. Digger Dog's here, but where's Bones? Digger Dog looking for the Bones? We lost Bones a long time ago, but that's okay. Eli McGinnis is around along with Fink Floyd. Firefly is here along with Jeff Pearson. Kathy's here along with Kelly Broughton with piercing blue eyes. There you go. Thank you for coming in. Jan's not here, but I know she'll be here shortly. We've got Niles Guy, Robert Vargas, Rough Freddy's here, Thought Forum, and Two Head 666. But we also want to throw out a hey to our friend Peggy with Crockett and Tubbs, as well as Steve all the way from South Florida. Thank you for coming in, everybody, to this great show, this great happy Saturday. Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes, my friends, not that one. Stop it. It's not just about the people in the back. Sometimes it's about the people in the chat. Oh, God. Sometimes it's about the people in the back. Let's go ahead and take a look at who we've got on our list in the back. Well, our first friend is coming in all the way from Bristol, United Kingdom. We know him as Yell Tommy Tanker in the chat, but in our back, he's known as Andy. How's it going, Andy?
Hey, Thomas. Yeah, going well today. Been a good day.
Yes, absolutely. Any day is a good day with you here, my friend. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, we got another friend who's been around, but he's been gone, but he's back. Let's go ahead and welcome in our dear friend coming from the upper Midwest on the east side of Lake Michigan. Let's welcome in our dear friend, Hollywood Harold. How's it going, Harold?
It's going awesome tonight, as usual. As long as I'm not in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I got everything fired up here tonight. I got the flight tracker going. I got LAKENHEATH going here.
Nice. Keep an eye out, and if you see anything, let us know. We'll change out the view on that. Are you getting any snow by chance? Because I know there's a lot of lake effect snow.
Dusting.
Little dusting?
I don't know, maybe an inch or two.
Nice.
A lot.
Yeah.
But there'll be more.
Yeah.
Lake Michigan's famous for lake effect snow.
Yeah, I'm from the Windy City known as Chicago, and yeah, we used to get lake effect snow, but not as bad as those people in upstate New York. I-90 is like closed for a huge section right now because there's a blizzard going on up there. Go figure.
Exactly. I don't know how we're going to pull off that football game with Buffalo. I don't see it.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll see how that goes, my friend. Oh, what the hell? I lost my back chat again. There we go. It's back again. Yeah. YouTube
Thanks,
chat.
Alice.
Thank you very much, sir. I have to keep an eye on the broadcast to see if we're going up and down. Let's also welcome in from the upper Midwest on the Wisconsin side of Lake Michigan. Let's welcome in our dear friend Laura Campbell. How's it going, Laura?
It's going great, Thomas. Doing a lot of shopping online today for the holidays.
Oh, there you go. Lots of deals out there, huh?
Mm-hmm. A lot of cat toys and bird supplies. I like to feed the birds.
Same here. Absolutely. I probably feed more squirrels than I do feed birds, but you got to have fun with it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and turn our sights to the Great White North in the country where all the U's are silent. Let's welcome in Mr. Michael Sokoloff. How's it going, Michael?
It's snowing.
Oh, you've got even more snow, and it's accumulating. How about that? What do you got, about 6 inches there, 8 inches?
We're up to about 8, 9 inches, yeah.
Not bad,
So
not a bad guess. Well, I am from Chicago originally, so I can look at the amount of snow you've got going on your pine trees off to the left there and pick it off pretty well.
Yeah, it started to snow lightly this morning, and it's still going, so
Wonderful.
We'll see how many vehicles get stuck in the snow this year.
Well, I know yours won't because you'll be in the house for the time being.
Yeah, for now.
Well, thank you for coming in today, and that puts our side on the East Coast. Let's go ahead and welcome in our dear friend Mike. Disclosure. How's it going, Mike?
It's going well, Thomas. It looks like we're going to have a great international show on our Saturday show for everybody. A lot to talk about today. Looking forward to it. Oh, a little bit, yeah.
I would think so. Let's go ahead and we got Tia Loreno coming in. Welcome, Tia. Welcome to the broadcast, my dear lady. You getting any snow? No, you're not. You're on Long Island area. You're not getting any snow today, are you? I don't think so.
No snow. I wish, man. I wish.
You need to be further west and a little bit further north to get it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in either way. Appreciate you being here. All right, we got one more super chat that came in while doing our intros from April R. Coleman. Thank you very much, April. $10 American. Appreciate your love and support for everything we do here at Disclosure tonight. Yes, I have a monitor there, a monitor here, a monitor here. So if you see me looking in different areas, I'm just trying to keep everything up and running. On that note, let's go ahead and bring up the big map. Mike, we're going to be focusing on what's going on in United Kingdom. We've got some interesting pieces we're going to be covering. So before we get too far, I want to go ahead and bring up the map of what's going on. Let's get this over here a little bit. Push that off to the side. Yes, we've got a good old map of the good old U.S. of A. Let's take our sights, bring it around to the United Kingdom, and there you go. What are we talking about? We're talking about, well, we've got some UFOs that have been showing up in the southeast of the United Kingdom, but we've also got another one that's happening up in Manchester that we'll be covering in detail. Yes, it's an interesting time to say the least. I don't think there's ever been so much UFO mania going on in the United Kingdom. Would that be an accurate assessment, Andy?
The mute button is on, Andy.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't. My mouse is a bit slow, going a bit like me today. But hey, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's great to see that. You know, there's a lot of enthusiasts for what's going on in the UK, including our dear friend. Let's see if I can find this. Oh, I think I've got this in my bookmarks. Let me bring it right up. Including our dear friend Lou Elizondo, who is currently hanging out in the United Kingdom. Let me go ahead and bring this one up. Oh, here we go. Come on, let's get to this full. There we go. We've got Vinny Adams with Disclosure Team hanging out with Lou Elizondo. Not quite sure where they're at, but I have a good idea based on the next photo below. We've got another picture here of Lou Elizondo. Christopher Sharp is there, Lou's wife Jennifer, and a bunch of the other UK blokes that are there hanging out for the holidays. More important, you know, I've done some dirty work to figure out where they're at. Apparently, they're at a theater in London, Andy, feature that is currently playing the Magic Mike musical.
Okie doke.
We gotta wonder whose Christmas list was that on, Andy or Mike? What do you think?
I wonder.
I wonder as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Jennifer. Yeah, that's a good point, Andy.
Oh, yeah,
Who's treating
absolutely.
this good lady and a few other people, I think.
Yeah, but it seems like it's a good place. There aren't a lot of other people around. It looks like they almost have the venue to themselves. Although we can tell there is a bartender because they are drinking some pints of beer, but I can see right in front of Jennifer. She has her favorite champagne, but there's no orange juice. How can she have a mimosa, Mike, without having any without any orange juice?
Maybe they didn't have any orange juice at the venue.
Yeah, but I guess so. I guess they're not making screwdrivers.
That's right.
Or tequila sunrises or any of those great things. Yes. Let's go ahead and get back to what we're talking about here. Yes, we're talking about UFOs going on in the United Kingdom, but most importantly, one of the things we want to get into this and talk about here in our recap is we have 3 bases in the United Kingdom that have them. One, we have well, no, that's not it. Let's not get to that one. Here we go. Let's go to the first one we're talking about here is a UK base. Air Force Base at Feltwell. Where did Feltwell go? There we go. Let's get over here. This is a base that's in the United Kingdom that is operated by both the, who is it again? Space Force and Air Force. And this is for reconnaissance missions. This is for not really reconnaissance, but they're getting into here for eyes in the sky intelligence operations. Of course, they've got some radar that isn't helping them that well for dealing with the UFOs. A little bit further to the south, we've got RAF Lakenheath, where it seems a lot of the action is going on. This is an air base that handles the F-15s and F-35s. So this is their strategical airstrike base where they've got some decent runways and a lot of storage to deal with all the United States F-35s. Now remember, Mike, if I'm correct, the F-35 is a nuclear-capable delivery platform, correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Thomas. They're able to carry nuclear-tipped missiles on the F-35 platform.
Right. Absolutely.
Which means there's probably nuclear weapons at Lakenheath, would be my guess.
Yeah. Yes, that was Christopher Sharp in the back in the photo as well. Thanks for pointing that out, Brian. I appreciate that. I kind of missed that, but welcome to the show, my friend. Appreciate you being around, and thanks for pointing that out. Let's go on to the last space we've got, and now the last space we're kind of considered with here that's operated by the United Kingdom is RAF Mildenhall. Did I get that right, Andy? Mildenhall?
100%, my friend, yes.
It's like mildew, but Mildenhall.
Milden, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Now, interesting things here. They actually keep our long-range strategic bombers at this location, which are definitely set up for handling UAP. Correct, Mike? Not UAP for handling nuclear. Nuclear. Yes, absolutely, my friend. Now, that would include our US B-52 Stratofortress. Yes, you know, those great planes that we see out there. And, well, apparently they may not be in the United Kingdom much longer because it looks like we have actually deployed. There are some... Now, this could be wrong, YouTube, if you want to correct me and say I'm actually saying this is current news. It's been reported by someone, which may or may not be correct, that US B-52 nuclear bombers have arrived in Finland, near the Russia border, in response to Moscow's threats about using nuclear weapons. Oh, Biden, can't you just go get lost in your basement for a while and start trying to throw us into World War III? Please, sir. A clear sign of the freedom and security remain a priority amid rising tensions. So, hey, if you're in Finland, be on the lookout for UFOs popping up over your bases there. How about that, Mike?
Oh, exactly, Thomas. There's going to be a lot of activity of these drones, as they like to call them.
Yeah. Happy belated Thanksgiving, Thomas and Mike. Great show as always. Thank you very much, FreezerMan71. Appreciate everyone's love and support. We're in this last day of November. It's actually going to be a record-breaking month for a long time on the show for Super Chats. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate your love and support of everything we do here in Disclosure tonight. This is a fan-funded program. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, getting back into this. Now, in addition to these 3 bases that are operated in the United Kingdom by the USAF, there is another base a little bit further to the north up in Marham, Andy?
Locals around there are probably, murder me for saying, I'd say Marham.
But they'd say Marham.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that H is silent, Marham.
Yeah.
So what do we have going up here at RAF Marham? Well, let's go ahead and take a look. Well, you can see it's a bunch of short runways. This is the strategic location where the RAF, which stands for Royal Air Force, operates all of their F-35s out of. Not only that, they have a strategic force here for dealing with anti-UAS, which means for unidentified aerial systems, the modern word for UFOs, to go ahead and bring these things down. But here's the thing. They've deployed 60 people from this base to the other locations that the United States are operating, and they haven't had much of any luck in bringing anything down. They've got the technology. Supposedly they tested it. They've spent a lot of taxpayers' money on it, but it doesn't seem effective on whatever these drones are. Now, these could be drones or these could be UAP, whatever it is. They are clearly interfering with the operations of U.S. Air Force, U.S. Space Force, and even what's going on with RAF Marham. So there's something going on. Whatever we have for our abilities and the UK has for their abilities, these drones are clearly exposing a weakness in our ability to control these drones or UAPs over our sites. And Mike, would you say this is kind of an issue of national security?
Oh, please. It goes without a doubt that it's national security. Call these objects what you will. I don't care if they're foreign adversaries or unknown. It's still violating national security. You would think they would take it a lot more seriously than they have so far, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it comes down to the, who you call it? It comes down to people in the in our government basically going and denying anything is actually happening. On that note, we do have before we get too far into this, we do have a news story. There's actually a news story on this, Mike. I'm actually surprised, and it's not from News Nation. Whatever happened to them? News Nation covers everything UAP for the most part and what's going on in our Senate and the House, which we do have some more updates on that. But it seems our buddies over at Fox News, Mike, are scooping the story on this one. And with the news story, we're able to go ahead and find and bring up for today's show on that note. Let me go ahead and see if I can bring this in video full. Let's go ahead and play this one for our audience. A short 2 minutes. Here we go.
There's growing concern tonight about the presence of drones over military bases in England used by American forces. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin reports from the Pentagon about what the aircraft are doing.
Home to the American F-15 Strike Eagle and F-35 fighter jets, 4 U.S. military bases in the UK that serve as the centerpiece of American air power in Europe have been targeted by swarms of small drones since November 20th. The U.S. military is alarmed by what appears to be a coordinated effort to test security at these 4 bases housing American troops. The British government has sent 60 security personnel to protect the bases. Multiple drone incursions in the past week targeted Royal Air Force LAKENHEATH, RAF Mildenhall, RAF Feltwell, and RAF Fairford.
Wait a minute, we missed a base. RAF Fairford, we'll have to check that one out.
A U.S. official tells Fox the drones do not appear to be those of hobbyists. Witnesses say they are small quad and octocopters and more sophisticated than those that can be bought off the shelf.
Installation leaders have determined so far that none of these incursions impact the base residents, the facilities, or the assets that we have on those bases. We, of course, always maintain the right to defend ourselves if we deem something to be a threat.
While U.S. officials remain reluctant to attribute the origin of these drones, the coordinated nature of the incidents suggest an aggressive state actor and began a day after Ukraine used American long-range ATACMS to target inside Russia after President Biden lifted restrictions on the use of these longer-range missiles.
So we could actually, based on that statement, Mike, go ahead and say that the reason and the ultimate reason and the fault for this is American politics, more importantly, lame duck Biden.
That's a very good possibility, yeah.
Yeah.
No one's on the ball. No one seems to be dealing with it seriously at this point.
Yeah.
You're right.
Exactly. Unfortunately, someone's asleep behind the wheel and American media isn't covering it. Let's continue.
RAF LAKENHEATH is home to the U.S. military's 48th Fighter Wing. The UK Defense Ministry is working closely with the U.S. and local police to find out what these drones are doing and whether a foreign adversary is involved.
This unusual drone activity comes a month after we first reported that surveillance drones flew for 17 days near Langley Air Force Base in Virginia last December and other sensitive U.S. military installations here in the U.S. Those drones were larger but pose a similar challenge to base commanders. Brett?
Jennifer Griffin live at the Pentagon. Jennifer, thank you.
Interesting to see that, I just don't get it, Mike. How can they be going ahead and calling these out and saying there's no threat? Isn't there a threat to security, a threat to intelligence that's potentially going on? The ability for them to go ahead and, if you want to call it, violate the borders of our military installations and fly unimpeded over these sites?
Well, that's true. They're claiming there's no actual threat to the personnel at the bases, but they're ignoring and not pointing out the point that you just made, that at the very least, it's a national security violation, because if there is a foreign adversary conducting surveillance over restricted airspace, that's not something they should ignore.
Yeah. Well, something very interesting. Let's go with two things here. First, I have a map I want to go ahead and bring. Actually, Stephen Team here. You have your hand up for a question on this?
Okay, yeah, just a couple things. All these news clips that I see about the drones, they always show stock footage of propeller drones. Those are not the drones that we know of that are over these bases.
Yeah,
That's
they
like
are.
disinformation.
These drones are not moving silently. The propellers from these drones do sound like quadcopters.
Oh, they do? Okay,
They do,
I wasn't
yes.
aware of that.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other, but I don't understand how they can't call it a threat. It's just like you guys are arguing. Obviously, they can't control it, so they don't want to admit that all their anti-drone systems don't work. I mean, if they did, they wouldn't be there still. They wouldn't be moving aircraft to other airfields.
Bingo.
They just don't want to admit it.
Bingo. It shows there is a clear hole in our security and the apparatus and the millions and hundreds of millions of dollars the United States has probably invested to go ahead and create those. What are those called? The Ghostbuster devices, Mike?
Yeah, those are the, I believe it's an electromagnetic wave generator that's supposed to knock drones out of the air, anti-drone equipment.
Yeah.
They're not using it, it seems like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We've got, $890 billion, give or take, that we give to the military. Of course, our military is spending all the money where it should. But wait a minute. No, we can't guarantee that because they failed their audit again, didn't they, Mike?
What is it, 7 times in a row, Thomas, so far?
7th year in a row. How about that?
And they have a budget of roughly close to $1 billion every year, right?
$1 trillion.
Oh, that's right, $1 trillion. Yeah, I left off a couple of zeros. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You think?
Yeah. And they have no idea where that money went.
No.
Very interesting.
Well, I'm sure they do, but they're not reporting it to anyone in Congress because they don't deserve to know. Wait a minute. Isn't there supposed to be oversight from Congress because Congress is the one who gives them the money?
Yes, obviously. That's who holds the purse strings on this.
Yeah. It certainly is, my friend. It's an interesting situation, to say the least. Michael Sokoloff, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, please correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't their story slightly changed over the past week as to what they're seeing in the sky?
Has it? Well, they have been calling out drones, and they've been calling them UAS or drones. But there was a there was a airman that was recorded in a broadcast that someone picked up of them communicating, and the men in the air are calling these UAP.
Yeah, so you got so then we're getting conflicting reports, or?
Well, the men on the ground, if you want to call it, are calling it UAP. The bigwigs behind the desk and in front of the camera are calling them drones. So who do you believe, Mike? Do you believe the people who are up in the air flying around with these things, or do you believe the generals?
My fantasy is that I want to believe they're UAPs or UFOs.
Yeah.
I prefer to call them UFOs.
Yeah.
Rather than drones.
Yeah.
But if they fly and go after them, are they taking off to on incredible speeds that they can't catch them, or because if they're man-made, I don't believe they can go very fast at all.
Yeah.
And they can't hover forever. So
yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting at. What are the conflicting reports, and how do we determine what is true and what is just fantasy?
Well, what is true and what is manufactured official lines to tell the general public to help them quell their interest in this situation is kind of what it comes down to. Now, I do have someone in the military, someone here from the United Kingdom called DW Labs, Lab 7 East. We have 800-meter high anti-drone walls using RAF or RF that are used around some UK prison walls. At an airfield, you do not want permanent RF blockers for aircraft safety reasons. Yes, of course. But not talking about a wall to keep the RF out. They actually have little guns that they can go ahead and direct at these, a directionally fired device. And I believe the U.S. military, Mike, they actually have Humvees that are outfitted with this technology as well, and they've got big dishes on them that can go ahead and be directed directly at the drones. And I wouldn't be surprised if they aren't deploying those at those locations. It just shows.
Intended to interrupt their commands, or what's going on with that?
Well, whatever's going on, they have no ability to go ahead and stop this stuff, it appears.
Apparently.
Yeah. Before I get on some people in the back who have their hands up, I have two documents I want to go ahead and show. I'll be getting to you both shortly. Just give me a second here. Let me bring up this document here. What we're looking at here, there is an updated map of these are all no-fly zones for drones across the United Kingdom. And if you looked around the bases of what's going on, yes, there's Mildenhall, there's Lakenheath, and we've got Marham up here as well. All the locations around these places are all in no-fly zones for drones. Interesting enough. More importantly, if I get to the next page of this document, where is it at here? Let me get to the next one here. Well, there is a law in the UK that's been around since 2016. Go ahead and bring this one down here. Drone UAVs stop. Do not operate drones within a restricted zone. This has been in order since 2016. According to Article 240, endangering safety of an aircraft will get you up to 5 years imprisonment. A person must not recklessly or neglectedly act in a manner likely to endanger an aircraft or any person in an aircraft. Article 49A/265, a UAS operator cause permit flight of an unmanned aircraft in flight restriction zone without permission up to a fine of 2,500 pounds. Runway protection zones are in areas which extend out 5 kilometers from each notified runway threshold and 750 meters laterally either side of the extended center line, which is definitely 750 meters. That's about, what, 3,000 feet, give or take, I believe?
It's about 2,200 feet, roughly.
Yeah, and these drones have been operating between 1,000 and 2,000 feet up.
Right. So
Yes.
it should be working, and it's obviously not.
Yeah, so the unauthorized use of drones in these areas is strictly prohibited. Now, just to remind everyone in our audience, I've said this a lot, but I'll say it a lot more. United States Air Force and Space Force has the capabilities to detect an object, let's say about the size of a grapefruit, from the surface of the ground up to way beyond the orbit of the moon. Now, to say that they can figure out where these drones are coming from, and more importantly, where they're going back to, that's the key thing. If they knew where they're coming from, Mike, and where they're going back to, wouldn't you think they would go ahead and deploy ground forces to go ahead and try and intercept these drone operators?
They should be tracking down point of origin and going to shut that whole operation down normally.
They should be. They should be. On that note, let's go ahead and call on some people in the back who have their hands up. I think the first person with his hands up is Corporal Abe, all the way from Thailand. How's it going, my friend?
Hey, good morning, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say something about the restrictions. Washington, D.C. is also a restricted flight zone for certain types of vehicles, including just regular aircraft. You can't fly over everything over D.C. And it's hilarious to me how it seems to be more of a serious issue overseas than it is for our own president of the United States in this state.
Oh, yeah. I would have to agree with you on that one, my friend. It's just a situation you have to go ahead and take a look at. But in breaking UFO news, I have a news update coming in from the East Coast of the United States. Yes, apparently, Triscuit has become stuck in the snow. Oh, that looks about a good foot and a half of snow. How about that? Thank you for sharing that. She's in my feed over on Twitter, and I was just going ahead and bringing up my bookmarks because in respect to what Corporal Abe was just saying about, where's this at? Here we go. According to what you're just saying about what's going on in the United States in Washington, D.C., the Department of Defense has put out a statement as of today saying that the integrated, let me get this and make it a little bit easier for everybody to see, the integrated defense system that has been keeping a watchful eye on the national capital region is set to get a facelift. A new artificial intelligence-based recognition and identification system offers an exponential increase in capabilities. Say what? Yes. What they've done is, according to Roni Vernette, the Pentagon is now deploying a new AI-based visible and IR camera system to D.C. to monitor unidentified objects in the sky. So it seems like the stuff that's going on in the UK is definitely got the figureheads in Washington, D.C. trying to turn up the heat, because if earlier this week, Mike, there was a potential sighting of some objects over Washington, D.C., but honestly, it looked like stationary objects that represented more of drones in stationary positions than like when we had the UFOs flying over Washington, D.C. in 1952.
Exactly. And that was one hell of an event. And it seems like there's increased activity at this point. So I'm curious to see how they're going to respond.
Yeah. I mean, it's been reported that there's been over 600 sightings over military bases in the U.S. alone of quote-unquote UAS this year. And more importantly, it's an evolving situation that, more importantly, just flew out the window like UAS. Oh, you got to have fun with it. Got to have fun with it, Mike. Hollywood Herald, do you have your hand up, my friend?
Well, I'm beginning to think they don't need to be looking up so much. They need to be looking down. I'd be looking where they're coming out of the English Channel or something there over off the coast or something, right? Only like 70 miles off the coast.
Right. Well, these drones are operating in excess of 100 miles an hour, and a lot of these bases are about 50 miles, give or take, from the ocean shore. So it's going to take them about an hour. 50 miles and 100 miles an hour. No, it's going to take them about 25 minutes, give or take, to get from the ocean, at least right off the edge of the ocean, to where they're going. But here's the thing. If the military has a technology that they claim to have, they should be able to find the locations of these things very quickly and easily. But
you would think.
Yeah, you would think. But apparently, they don't have that capability.
Going up, they're going down. They don't have anything to monitor. They need some buoys or something, man, with hydrophones or something. See if they can detect them coming up out of there over the coast.
Well, they just need to watch where they're going to and go and send some boats there to go ahead and check it out.
That too, yeah. And tonight's kind of overcast over Lakenheath, and so there's not much activity tonight. He's got the stream up, but there's nothing going on right now. It's too cloudy.
All right, perfect. Now, Syrup, go ahead, my friend. You have your hand up.
Oh, I was just going to kind of touch on what Harold touched on. I was just going to say, I think the reason why they're probably not shooting these down or bringing them down is they're just trying to figure out where they're coming from. Or they're lying to us and they know exactly where they're coming from and they're just downplaying it or they're not doing anything about it for some unknown reason. I don't know.
Yeah. It seems to be that way, my friend. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at some of the video footage that's been surfing the net out there over on Twitter, let me go ahead and bring this up. I've got a video clip of one of the drones or UAS, whatever they potentially are, flying over the Lakenheath area. Let me go ahead and bring this one up here. Down, here we go. Let's go ahead and bring it across. And you can see overall we've got 3 lights going on. Let me zoom this in. We've got a leading light, a green light, and another light that's going on. And this has actually been taken with a relatively high, what do you call it? A good optical camera. A lot of the stuff we've seen is from cell phones or cameras and stuff that don't have good optics. But we can see, looking at this one here at this particular object, that, yeah, we've got a red light, a green light, and potentially something else going on with these objects that have been flying around with impunity. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the distance is between those lights, like from the red to the first green. How far that is, to get an idea how big this object is.
Yeah, that's unknown at this point. Now, based on some of the drones we have seen, were the ones where it looked like more of a configuration of a plane, where like a glider to a degree, you'd have potentially a front light on the front of that object, and these could be the tips of the wings. But again, without it actually seeing in good footage in daylight, or actually a better than just visible light, it's hard to tell exactly what these things are and what's going on.
And from what I know, that doesn't really look like a UFO. They don't look like UFO lights to me.
No, they don't, do they?
Man-made drone.
Yeah.
And I wonder what the zoom was on that as well. How far did the guy, is it a 50 zoom? Is it a 30 zoom? Is it optical or digital? You know?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're all left with the same information, which is a bunch of lights that are going on and people are checking out over RAF Lakenheath. So there are people out there trying to figure out what's going on, but as far as what they're actually seeing, Mike, it's all up in the air. There's not a lot of actual details that we can share beyond the speculation and reporting on the information we're aware of.
Yeah, because there is no actual information that's been publicly available about these incidences. So the only thing that people can do, want to talk about it, is speculate.
Right.
So a lot of rumor, innuendo, and speculation without really a lot of facts. That's what you and I have been talking about.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just a quick reminder to our audience that we have out there. There's a lot of new people who are watching the show right now. Would you look at that, Mike? We have 340 people watching the show. Please subscribe to Disclosure Tonight. We'll continue the coverage on this as things going forward. And we cover everything about UAP, not just in the United Kingdom, but also everywhere worldwide. So also, if you're a subscriber, please like and... If you haven't subscribed yet to Disclosure Tonight, more importantly, if you're watching the show, having a good time, give us a thumbs up, and if not, give us a thumbs down. And also, if you're a subscriber, check that bell to make sure you get all updates on the show. Appreciate it, because with so many people watching, how many likes do you think we've got going right now, Mike? I can't tell.
Probably around 80.
Yeah, give or take. I've lost that window at this point, but it's good enough. I'll run with it at the current time. We'll figure it out. And as soon as I can update the people as far as where we're at, I definitely will. Oh, there we are. We're at how many likes? 95 likes. You're close, Mike.
No, there we go.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So in addition to that one video, we do have another video, which is always nice to see when there is a UFO sighting going on, Mike, that there are multiple views of the particular site that's going on. Now, we just saw the one video that was out there that was taken from someone who had a high power camera with a good lens on it, some good optics. This is another video that was taken from someone with a cell phone. We can see at the bottom of the video here, if I bring it up, I'd have to say that's the gutter at the edge of their house. They're close to Lakenheath. They're shooting off in the distance, and this is, you can see the roof tiles they've got going here at the bottom. Definitely a clay roof to a degree with some tiles up there. But as we get into it, I want to bring this up a little bit more. Let me change the playback speed on this. to half. You can see there's a regular beat going of lights changing coming from these objects. Let me go back to it when they're zoomed in here. Let's go through it frame by frame. You can see the red one is primarily staying red, but we are definitely getting flashing going on. And even the main one, when it flashes, it goes blue. So maybe it's a bluish white. So it's going to flash, clearly illuminated by LEDs, that when it goes to go to a bright flash, it's changing to white for that flash. And then after that flash continues, it goes back to red again. Now, interesting, we're seeing that same kind of flashing going on the tips, but after it flashes bright, we can see on the one on the bottom right, it's going in flashing green as well. Harold, do you have your hand up, or did I forget to put it down?
I'm just going to say it looks like it's red at the top, green at the bottom, white on the side there, mostly. They do change, though. I know on slow-mo, you can see them changing.
Yeah, they definitely do, don't they? But when they go to flash and go bright, they definitely turn white, because if they wanted to really get bright, they have to go to that white, which is a combination of RGB and the brightest to go ahead and get the colors to make it pop. So, yeah, it's similar to what you would call potentially of off-the-shelf technology relative to the LEDs are being used, but they are coming across pretty bright, and it's an interesting situation. Steven, you have your hand up.
Yeah, one more quick statement. All drones, conventional drones that we have now, are usually controlled by an operator. But what if someone has AI and they have it shielded for like electromagnetic pulses? It could be autonomous then, and most of the anti-drone technology may not work because it's mostly geared toward blocking operator signals. But maybe someone has an AI now that it's able to control itself totally on board by an AI computer.
Right. The anti-UAS technology that we have, at least that I'm aware of, from the United States government, isn't necessarily out there to go ahead and try and take over control of the drones, which may be in their warehouse. A lot of this stuff is about going and trying to actually interrupt the operations of the drone using electromagnetic signals to effectively force them to be brought down. Ali, you have your hand?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Ali, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, nice to see you guys. I just have a short question today. This is restricted airspace. Does anybody know what the rules of engagement is for these for these military installations?
I'm not quite sure what the actual rules of engagement are. I know over the United States, there's fear for going ahead and actually shooting something, ordinances at these bases, because a lot of them are all surrounded by civilian housing and just general non-military land. And they're afraid if they go ahead and try and shoot some of these things down, it could come down in the area of the general public, or if some of the ordinances miss or whatever it is, those could potentially come down. So I'm sure they have similar rules within the United Kingdom, though.
Yeah, maybe.
But it also shows, Ali, that we have a definite deficiency in our ability to control these types of objects that are flying over our military bases. This is an amplification of what's going on, whether it's Russia, China, Iran, or just UAP. I mean, we've had several surveys here on Disclosure tonight with the audience. What do you guys think they are? And time and time again, our audience has come back and said it's UAP. So let's go ahead and see where our audience is again right now.
Shall I just make a comment here to Michael? He said it doesn't look like a UAP, but they look exactly in the form and their disposition as the two ones that passed over my head, just 10 meters, 30 feet up. It seems to be just the same kind of UAP. The difference was that mine had this red-orange lights in each corner. I just want to tell you that.
So you've seen stuff like this in the past, and it definitely wasn't a drone, Ollie.
Definitely not a drone, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And no more than 30 feet of my head. 25 to 30 feet over my head.
Right. Gotcha.
So for me, they seem to be familiar.
Yep. Well, we do have a survey going up on the show right now. With 420 people going ahead and watching the show, it's a magic time, my friends. 420 people watching the show right now. Currently, 69% of our audience is saying it's UAP. 31% of our audience is saying it is drones. Hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds. We like to do...
Right. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Starting now.
Now, I'm not going to hate to say it. I'm gonna look at this and say the numbers we're getting today, Mike, are pretty close to what we've been getting the last two times, because last night's show we got 71% of our audience said it was UAP, and today we're getting about 66%, 33%. So give or take, it's very close. And overwhelmingly, this is the third time we're doing this. A lot of members in our audience are thinking this is probably UAP. Your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely UAP, because if it was a standard UAS drone, the equipment that the military is in possession of would have been able to knock these things down. And like you said, they'd also be able to track it down to their point of origin, which they have failed to do so far. So it can only be a UAP that they're not able to identify or track. So I don't think it makes sense. The audience is right.
Yeah.
We agree.
Absolutely. 63% with only 28 seconds left. Would you look at that? How many people do we have? 84 votes in. 83 votes in. Let's see if we can get this up to 90 in the next 20 seconds. Come on, audience. It's free to go ahead and vote. Go ahead. Would love to see what you have to say on this. But it looks like we're about a 60-40 split on this one, Mike. Today, a little bit lower, depending on what's going on. So, yeah. But wait a second. Hold on. We did get another super chat that came in. Another YouTube account gave us, do you or any of your guests thoughts in regards to the WebBot prediction for December 3rd? Hope you guys are thinking about a marathon show that day. Oh, this is the WebBot. Is this something that made a prediction about what's going on like many years ago, Mike?
I'm not familiar with it.
I think we talked about this last night. And it was basically some kind of a system in a computer had basically tried to predict this. At least someone else was saying it. Is that what it is? Another YouTube account? I think it is. And if that's the case, potentially saying December 3rd is going to be a big date. Yeah, if something happens, I'll jump on and we'll cover it live, but we're not going to go ahead in anticipation and be here all day to go ahead and cover that. Right, Mike?
Exactly. Oh, yeah. No. Unless something is breaking, we won't be on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. If it is, we will, but we'll see. It's something that was proposed. I don't take much stock in that, but we'll see. You never know.
Absolutely. Andy, actually, Corporal Abe, you have your hand up, and then we'll go to Andy and Harold.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that in my first branch in the Navy, I primarily worked in aviation, and those lights on whatever that is does not correspond with like military or civilian FAA aviation lights.
Really?
Yeah. So that flashing and all that, it's not what, you don't get that from civilian or military aircraft that's operating over top of a military base or in aviation.
Right. So clearly, whatever's going on, they are making an effort to make their activities known.
Nonverbal communication is what appears to be happening. Yeah, it's some type of form of communication there. Why at that altitude would it be flashing with all these multicolored lights if it did not want our attention?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's right about that station there. So maybe that's what they're trying to do is communicate to that station, Thomas. Just we're too dumb to see it yet.
Well, potentially, but there's 4 bases that they're going after at this point. Actually, 5. There's one operated by the United Kingdom, by the RAF, and then there's 4 by the United States that are being impacted by this. But clearly, whatever's going on, these operators or UAP have no concern about getting in trouble or getting thrown into jail or being fined.
Well, it's like somebody's waving their hand pretty hard in the air there, isn't it? Like, look up here, Pretty
yeah,
brazen.
you would think. Let's go ahead and bring this down a little bit here so you can see that a little bit better. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. Not your typical off-the-shelf drones. I have to go ahead and say that at this point. Andy W., you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to posit this, that there's potentially three options. Okay, option one, it's UAP. Option two, but it's actually, some American United Kingdom training exercise. And option three, it's either some civilians or enemy operators, China or Russia, flying drones around. Now, none of them have been captured yet. None of these objects have been brought to ground that we know of. So nobody's been arrested. So potentially that rules out certainly, civilian drone operators. Most drone operators in the United Kingdom who fly, hobbyist drone operators and commercial drone operators, they all operate within the now laws. So, to me, probably no. If it's Chinese or Russian, then where are they coming from, and why have they not been apprehended? Or, and also, if it's a training exercise, why didn't they notify the locals to say, we're going to be having a big training exercise? Just don't be worried. It's kind of like having a fire alarm if you work in a building full of people. They notify you, we're going to have a fire alarm on this day, this time. So you don't run out of a room screaming that you think there's a fire if they set the alarm off.
But here's the thing, Andy. Here's the thing. They are doing military training exercises in those UK bases, and they notified the public that they're doing it because they're going to be operating without any lights on the aircraft that they're going to be flying. So that means that for military training exercises, they wouldn't be having that display of multicolored lights like these objects are doing.
Yeah, they offer these NOTAMs. Yeah, they offer, show up these NOTAMs, and warn people that aircraft are going to be moving around with lights. They've only recently instated those. They were not in position when these incidents started. So these are after the fact NOTAMs.
What does NOTAM stand for again?
It's notice to airmen. It's basically a warning of potential air. That there are potential air hazards. Whether these are disseminated out to the public in the local area, I don't know. I don't think they are.
But they did put up a NOTAM stating that until, I think, December 3rd, they will be operating, the 4th, right. They'll be operating military aircraft exercises without any lights. It'll be in the dark.
That's correct, but that actually happened after, I believe, after these incidents started. So
correct, that is correct, Andy. So in reference to these these sightings that have been going on, they basically said we're going to be operating without impunity with no lights going on. So if there are drones that are happening, the drone operators aren't going to be able to see the lights from any of the craft. Now they've had F-15s have been reported up. They've had the Ospreys, I believe, have been up there as well. And they're also, who is that? UAP Forgotten. I am going to forget you. Yeah, we'll wait. Keep an eye on UAP Forgotten.
Military can also turn their transponders off. So not only are they running dark, they're running silent. You can't track their jets, the jets right now over UK or America.
Right. That's correct. So they have some activity going on, which may be preparing if we do get into some sort of a conflict over in Ukraine and Russia. They're going to have these aircraft operational, and they're not going to be announcing their whereabouts or where they're going or what they're doing, it's typical operating protocol. It's SOP, standard operating procedure.
Yep. Ali, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I just read it as this. I don't know any military or Air Force that would train with a thing like that and give it this extraordinary special kind of lights, because it's the basic security is it's red and green for lights, and you can also have 360 degrees lighting, warning white light as well. This doesn't make sense. And my guess is this: what is happening? We have Langley, and we have these 3 airports in England. And with a nuclear threat now between Russia, Ukraine, and the NATO, I think there's a lot of reshuffling of nuclear arms. And that's why they caught this interest from these UAPs. That's my guess.
What's your take on that, Mike?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this in the beginning of the show. Obviously, there might be some nuclear weapons being moved around, which is going to definitely get the attention of any UAP out there. They show a strong interest in our military and our nuclear capabilities. So if there is activity that the military is engaged in right now that they don't want the public to know, look at it like this. At least we're getting a tip-off from these objects of what's going on in those military facilities. So that's interesting. I agree with Ollie.
Yeah. Well, there's a high interest in. There's definitely a high interest in anything nuclear that's been going on. There's been sightings, I believe, I'd seen earlier on Twitter, and Kelly Barot had said in the chat that at the Duke Energy nuclear power plant, there were also some recent UAP sightings that have taken place within the last day or so. So as we move towards this whole potential nuclear conflict between the United States and Russia, I hate to say that, but it's the reality of it. These sightings are becoming more and more frequent, and hopefully this isn't a sign of the UAP trying to prevent us from something that they're aware of that could be happening in the near-term future, Mike.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't go nuclear, because any of the parties that are involved are aware that's a no-win situation. It's not a battle anybody could win if you start launching nukes. So let's hope it never goes there.
I would say so. I would have to hope that as well, my friend. If we can. Greg O'Brien, you have your hand up, my friend.
Hey, Thomas. Good afternoon, sir. Just to clarify, standard or some drones, they all don't have to have the FAA lights. They have multicolored lights, and they don't have to keep in time with the FAA standard. What is it? 128 blinks per minute, like per plane, like standard aircraft. And
I believe there are regulations that have been put on drones in the last couple of years by the United States with regards to being able to shut down where drones can actually be operated at, or even being able to control, to actually regulate. And they've always had this. They've had it where all the drones that you've put up actually have to have marked lights for their operation. But here's the thing. If these were drones that were getting in there, potentially not being controlled by humans watching what's going on, and they're coming and doing things, they don't have to have lights. And if they want to be stealth about it, they're not going to show any lights. But the truth of the matter is, we've got lights showing up on these, which means whatever's going on, Greg, would you say they want to be known?
Oh, for sure, yeah. And if they're flying over a military base, most definitely. But again, like you were saying, they wouldn't be flashing their lights unless they want to be noticed. So, and again, to the FAA regulations, they do have to flash a light. So this does lead me to believe it is a drone.
Yeah, Syrup, go ahead. Yeah, before you get to Syrup, Greg, I have to agree with you. Whatever we've got going on here is definitely something that's out of the ordinary, and it's a situation where there are people trying to antagonize both the United States government and the United Kingdom government, which could kind of point towards Russia again. I guess we could go ahead, and Russia's had what? Several years of practice of creating drones to go ahead and cause potential problems. You never know where it could be from. Syrup, you have your hand up, my friend. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is assuming they're a foreign adversary. I got to wonder how come we're not doing the same thing to our enemies with drones. Do you think we have a black budget weapons or something along those lines that could do the same thing these drones are doing without having to use drones, or do you think we got passed up?
What was that again? Do we think we got what about it?
Or do you think that possibly we got passed up by our adversaries because they're utilizing drone technology and we got caught sleeping on drone technology?
Well,
yeah, I don't think so. I think that if we're talking about Russia as a potential for an adversary that's conducting these operations utilizing drones, we already know that Russia gets all their drone technology from either China or Iran.
Yeah.
So that's prosaic, and our senses should be able to detect that, right, Thomas?
They should be able to, but apparently they're not being able to. Really quick, Mike, I forgot to shut down the survey with 188 votes in. 68% of our audience believes it's UAP. 32% of our audience thinks it's a drone. So this is pretty much in line with what we've been getting for the last, including this one, 3 shows.
Several days. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and this poll.
Listen, we tend to side with the audience because we've been discussing this and we feel the same way. These objects, if they were prosaic, would be able to be A, taken down quickly, and B, identified. So the fact that they're not makes it unusual, which puts it into the camp of unknown object.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it, my friend? Let me go ahead.
It really does.
Bring this in here and see if I can get
Unless they're supposed to be there.
No. They would issue a NOTAM if it was military based, and they would let everybody know that. They're not doing that.
Doesn't belong to the American military. Doesn't belong to the British. It's not supposed to be there.
So the military just wouldn't just throw a drone up in the air just to survey their base?
Absolutely not. We wouldn't make this big of a deal about it. We wouldn't launch F-15s up to chase them.
That's right. Abe is right. Plus, if it was prosaic, our sensor systems would readily identify that and shut this down. It would not continue to operate day in and day out like it's been doing.
Yeah.
Simple logic. Right, Thomas?
Absolutely. They wouldn't allow them to continue operating without impunity over these sites. These are strategic locations, especially as we're starting to deal with a further conflict, between the United States and Russia in Ukraine. So it's an evolving situation. Would you look at this, Mike? We have almost 600 people watching the show. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to Disclosure tonight, please do us a favor. We like to cover this kind of stuff and everything about UFOs. So if you're interested, you're having a good time, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you've already hit that subscribe button, give us a like, a thumbs up, or a thumbs down, and to check your bell to make sure you're set up for all notifications. Usually we'll put out a notification about 2 hours, give or take, before every show. So it's important to have that update so you know when we go live. Just when do we go live? We go live on Mondays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we go live on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Pacific or 10 p.m. London time for a Europe-centric show.
Correct.
And I just wanted to add real quick, it wasn't like, was it like 2 months ago when they had that little drone incursion over Lockheed Martin? Plant 42. I don't know if you guys remember.
Over Langley, you mean?
For about 2 days. No, there was Langley as well, and then they had one over at Lockheed, and they shut down the airspace for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it lasted about a couple of days. I just think it's kind of fishy how these drone incursions are they're starting to pop up quite frequently.
Yeah, they are. Let me go ahead and get out the dog treats. I've got a couple dogs here looking for some snacks. They need their treat. Here you go, guys. I'll take it. Just take it. I'll take the cookie. Thank you, Nigel. Appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing to the show, and welcome to the chat. And that does remind us that, Mike, we need to cover about the stuff that's been going on over in... where? I've got to find this window now. I've moved it someplace. We've got things that have been going on in United Kingdom over at Manchester. Let's see if I can hopefully I didn't shut this window down. Okay, I've got it. I've got that window. Remember, there's no ability. If you're operating a drone, you can go into prison for over 5 years. So these people who have been having these drones out there are, at this point, they're not taking any chances, because if they find out who they are going to jail, my friends. Let me go ahead and take a look at this. Yeah, now the other thing we want to go ahead and cover here is there is some videos that were released earlier this week with regards to over at Manchester International Airport, showing something that looks like a drone, not necessarily a drone, but something that looks like a orb that was on the tarmac. Let me go ahead and bring this one up here if I can. Here we go. We've got one shot of the particular object that's on the tarmac that was taken from the cockpit of I believe an A320. Let me get to the next one we've got here. Here's a little bit of an enhanced picture of it, which we've got better versions of this one to go ahead and share with everybody. Let's go on. Let's get out of there. And I think we've got a video in addition to that. Oh, let me copy this video so I can go ahead and bring in for everybody a little bit. No, not that one. No, don't start that one either. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Select. Cancel. There we go. Let's open external application. Here we go. Let's go ahead and bring up the picture of this orb that's flying in the sky, clearly over Manchester Airport, taken by the same person who was in the plane. Now, let me go ahead and zoom this in a little bit. We've got a typical orb view that's staying stationary over the skies. I believe this is a slowed down version, unfortunately. Let me go ahead and get it there, and we've got the actual orb moving in distance, and it's a regular spherical object going ahead, and you can see this is coming right from the cockpit of a A320. Got the window, you got the sphere up in the sky, and zoom that out a little bit more. It's an interesting sight, to say the least. Now, in addition to the details coming out, let me go ahead and get back to my X account here really quick. I'm getting used to calling it an X account. How about that? Let me get to my bookmarks. I believe I've got a really good analysis of this one. I want to go ahead and cover. Where is that at, Roni? Nope. This one from Eric LaKenheath? Not that one. Give me a second to get this one up. Got a great analysis of this one. Andy, go ahead as I try to find this one post I was going to bring up. Andy, go ahead.
Go ahead, Andy. Your mute button is on. He dropped out.
We lost
Must have
Andy.
a connection problem. Yeah, he'll come back.
There we go. All right. So we've got a great analysis going on. This is coming to us from Roni Vernette. Mike, we've had Roni on this show before in the past, haven't we?
We have had Roni Vernette. He's a friend of ours, and he's been on the show. He's doing interesting work in the Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. So he did some forensic analysis of the photo of the Manchester Airport UFO. Here we go. First of all, we've got him going ahead and taking the particular object. So he used the software forensically available for free at 29a.ch to go ahead and do the analysis. First of all, clone detection didn't find any significant areas that were copied and pasted. So anytime you're going to go ahead, we've got the drone right there, or not the drone, we've got the sphere object located right where that little mouse cursor is at that point. And there's no object there's nothing within the photo itself where you're copying and pasting a particular part of the screen to go ahead and actually create the object. So none of that was found in the image. Furthermore, the error level analysis between the original image and a recompressed one didn't find any noise features that would point an inserted object. If you go ahead and do an analysis, you would see additional noise or less noise where that particular object is compared to that. Yes, Marty Lebsack. This was actually happened, I believe, around June 20th, June 22nd of this year is when they've actually tracked this back to. Also, they did a filter of the noise in the original image. It's not possible to find any high noise features that would appoint in inserted objects. The sphere noise is compatible with the existing noise, meaning if you take an object and you're taking a picture, you're going to get a bunch of, they call it like film grain back in the day, that goes across the entire image. I believe that object is somewhere out in this location, and if you're inserting an object into an existing image, that's going to take that image itself, and you're going to go ahead and see a difference in the noise. So again, whoever put these together clearly is a pilot. Now, coming from someone called by the name of SG, I'm a jet pilot and can confirm that this UAP seen at Manchester is highly likely to be a real situation, an authentic craft. Everything indicates it to be real. So, and based on the analysis that we're seeing here, SG, this, I would have to agree with you completely. If we go on a little bit further into his analysis, noise analysis also reveals 4 points in the sky that cannot be seen with the human eye. Since the image was taken from inside the cockpit, it could be due to dust particles. So again, everything that we're seeing from the analysis of the images that came out on this one is pointing to something that's real. Now, SG is saying now, next, the airport ops CAR going out to visit the object proves something was out there. That's something that happened that I wasn't aware of. Thank you, SG. Appreciate that. Now, something sweeping levels of the pixels to enhance contrast. We can see some circular marks in the sky that could be water on the cockpit glass since it was raining at the time. So again, doing an in-depth analysis of the photos that were taken and everything that we're seeing, this is clearly something that we're seeing that took place at Manchester, and all the forensics of the images, Mike, are lining up. Are you surprised on this one? I am a little bit, because we see a lot of fake UFO videos out there that don't cut the mustard, but this one is lining up image after image.
Which is very interesting, because you and I, we do our own video analysis when these videos come out on the internet, and it's usually 9 out of 10 something that was manufactured.
Yeah.
It's not authentic. So yeah, it is surprising to see something like this that turns out to in fact be potentially an authentic object.
Oh, absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. Gosh, 687 people watching the show now. A lot of interest in this stuff going on in the UK, Mike. I'm not surprised.
No, not at all.
I felt like doing a live stream on this earlier in the week, and my thought was right. People have an appetite for UFO sightings as they're happening live. If we can get into this. Andy W., you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, if my microphone works now, and my laptop doesn't like running 2 windows at the moment. But yeah, I believe the image of the object on the ground was the initial or initial image, and then the one of whatever is in the sky is a latter one. So after it's actually whatever it was,
right,
is potentially gone into the air.
It was down on the ground. They got a photo of it, and then the thing shot up very fast, and that's where they actually changed it off to video to get the object off in the distance. Correct.
Yes, I only wish they'd been video in the whole thing, you know, and actually show it going from ground to into the air.
Yeah,
but you know, beggars can't be choosers. I suppose.
I'll take information like this and run with it. You know, yeah, like you say, beggars can't be choosers. But you know, it shows there's a great interest in UFOs out there with the UFO. With the YouTube community, and I absolutely love it. If we move on a little bit, we've got Ronnie's next video image coming up, where he compared the luminance of the sphere of the edge pixels versus the turbine edge pixels, which is the object more closely related to the angle of the camera. The upper luminance is comparable, and the lower is more intense to the sphere, probably due to the proximity of the ground. Again, we're finding more and more image details that are coming onto this that show that sighting that happened over Manchester, or at the Manchester tarmac in June of this year. It's just a shame that it took so long for this video to come out, but sometimes people capture a video pictures, they put it aside, they forget about it. But this clearly shows there's something that's been going on in the UK. Now let's move on. The luminance analysis also doesn't show any significant anomalies below the sphere in a region that could be a shadow or even a continuity. of the airport runway. So if we take a look at that again, we're just seeing the pixels and the pixel maps, everything are aligning on this one to indicate that what they saw was real. Now, if you also look at the principal component analysis, doesn't show any anomalies on the edges of the sphere, which is compatible with the edges of the other objects on the image. For example, the tail of the airplane. So what we're looking at here is the edges around the object itself, how it's overall rendered in the overall lower pixel image to what's going on in the tail of a plane. And what we're seeing here is the pixel mapping of the actual objects is consistent from the tail of the plane to the actual orb itself, which is really kind of on this one, Andy, I'll say it again, is pointing out that this thing is real. Let's move on. Comparing the left image of of the photo of an orb on the ground versus the right image of the video of the orb flying. We use an orange-white plane as reference. We can see that it follows a timeline where the photo was taken of the orb on the ground before it went up. Let me go ahead and fix this one here a little bit to bring it up. It's a large image. Let me get up here so everyone can see it. And basically, let me get this across to document. We're already there at this point. Bring up the bottom of the image. Let's go ahead and bring this up a bit more. Basically saying we've got a picture with the orb on the ground where the plane is at this location. Further along, the plane is moved further away from the location, and everything is lining up in a continuity of the images, meaning they snapped a picture where it was closer, and then after the orb shot up and they pan the camera going upwards, the whole continuity of the scene is completely aligning. How about that? This is just amazing stuff going on. Now, coming from Roni, let's see if his conclusion aligns with everybody else's. He cannot see any evidence that can point to a manipulation of the image to insert the orb. The sequence of events could be pilot sees an orb on the ground, takes a photo, communicates to the tower, orb went up, and they record the video. I would have to say that is a decent analysis. On that note, I want to go ahead and see if I can find where in the hell did I hide the chat? Oh, here it is. Oh, it's right. It's over here somewhere. There we go. And that's not it. I know it's here somewhere. Give me a second to find it. Oh, there it is. Let me go ahead. I want to do another poll. Manchester. I'm going to be brutal on this one. Come on, audience. This is your chance to tell us where you go, and I will abide by whatever our audience says on this one. We're going to go ahead and say Manchester airport videos. Is it a UAP or is it fake? Let me go ahead and get on our pulsing music in the background so I remember that the actual video is up there and we're showing it. Mike, what are your thoughts? UAP or fake?
No, UAP, because Roni already had analyzed this. And Roni is a authentic scientist that's working with Rose Coulthard to investigate UAP in the Amazon jungle. So he's very credible. Thomas.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy, your thoughts? UAP or fake?
UAP.
Yes. Corporal Abe, UAP or fake on the Manchester UFO or UAP? The pictures we saw in the video.
Well, UAP.
Absolutely. Freezerman 71, your thoughts. Convince our audience.
It is definitely a UAP.
Yes. Greg O'Brien, Ticky Bottoms, how's it going, my friend?
You know me. I think it's UAP.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Usually you'd say it's fake.
It's unidentified, man.
Yeah.
It's the first word of the first letter, yeah.
There you go. Harold, Hollywood Harold, what are your thoughts?
Fake.
Yo, you're calling fake. Interesting. Thank you, sir. Laura Campbell, what are your thoughts?
UAP.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Michael Sokoloff from the great country of Canada. What are your thoughts? UAP or fake?
UAP.
Nick from Auburn, Washington. Your thoughts, UAP or fake? Come on, Nick. Come on. You unmuted.
It's probably UAPs. Yes, it's probably UAPs. I think it's UAPs.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Susan Ford, or I could say none of your business, from Australia. Your thoughts, UAP or fake?
UAP.
Ali Alvian, your thoughts, UAP or fake?
It's
UAP.
All right, Stephen T. Mayer, your thoughts, UAP or fake?
UAP.
There you go. Let's get to Syrup, UAP or fake?
I'm guessing, but I'm going to say UAP.
All right, let's get to then last person, Tia Loreno, your thoughts, UAP or fake?
I think it's fake.
Oh, you think it's fake. So we got 2 out of 14 people in the back. 2 people think it's fake. And 13 people think it's real, or 12 people think it's real. And I am going to end this survey from the audience, and my decision lies with the audience. We're going to call this out as a UAP. How about that? I think we're in pretty good alignment on this one.
Oh, I think so. I think the audience is aware of the information and the details, like we are, and has made a decision that whatever it is, and it's still unknown, is not a man-made prosaic object, obviously.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're right.
Yeah.
We'll go with their opinion.
So we've got the ones going over Manchester from earlier this year. Our audience is going ahead and calling these out as real, Mike. And then we've got the, the one over Manchester was real. And then the stuff that's going down at Lakenheath, Mildwell, and the other bases in the UK, our audience is also saying that these locations are real. Now, to go back to the maps and say, what the heck are we talking about? In case you join us a little bit late, we're talking about the UAP that have been seen in the United Kingdom. Let me go ahead and bring up this map again so anyone can understand what we're talking about. We've got 3 bases in the United Kingdom. We've got the air base, which is RAF Feltwell. RAF Feltwell is operated by the United States Air Force and United States Space Force. This is used for, of course, surveillance, space surveillance, and land surveillance. If you want to call it intelligence operations, this base is being hit by UAP, according to our audience. Let's move on. A little bit further south, we get down to RAF Lakenheath. Lakenheath is where the United States F-35s, which can carry nuclear-tipped missiles, is where they're currently at. And then if we go down to a little south and a little bit in this one, RAF Mildenhall. RAF Mildenhall is another location that's been out there. That is where the United States has their B-52 bombers, their B-2 Spirit bombers, etc. Again, nuclear-capable aircraft are located at the base that's up behind me. It's an interesting situation, Mike. It just keeps on evolving as time goes on. Andy?
Yes, you're also forgetting the base that I mentioned last night, RAF Fairford.
Fairford, let's bring up Fairford on that one. It is on my list right here. RAF Fairford is not operated by the United States, but it's operated by the RAF. The interesting thing about RAF Fairford is that this base is operated by the RAF. This, again, where their F-35s are located. But more importantly, this is the base where they have...
Thomas?
Yes?
Fairford is operated by the U.S. Air Force. That was, I forget the name of that one.
I'm sorry, I'm in Long Run. I'm in RAF Marham.
Yeah, Marham, yeah.
Wrong name.
RAF Fairford is operated by
the United States, but we're talking about RAF Marham on this one. Yep. RAF Marham is where the UK keeps their F-35s, Spirit 2 aircraft, and more importantly, this is a location where their anti-drone operations are based out of, and this is where they had 60 people who were deployed from this base to go ahead and try and protect RAF Feltwell, where we have the Space Force operations going on. There we go. We've just to give people an understanding of what you're looking at. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 domes being shown. Those are where there's radar enclosed within those domes that are spinning around at a pretty good rate. And then we've got one more location that is actually an exposed dish that actually has a level of protection about it to keep the people on the ground from seeing what is actually on that dish. So it's an interesting base to go ahead. And I guess if they're worried about surveillance from the skies, this is where these drones would particularly go to try and cause a little bit of disturbances going on. Now, anything that's going over any of these bases, they could be reporting on signal intelligence. This is where they're trying to intercept the radio or tech or systems-based communications between these bases, between the eyes in the sky. Now these bases to try and figure out what do they know, what are they up to, what's going on. Now, Mike, if you ask me, don't you think that's definitely a risk of national security to allow these drones to be able to be going with impunity over these sites, especially if they're trying to intercept our communications?
It's absolutely a huge violation of national security, especially where nukes are involved. The fact that they're claiming it is not a threat, I don't know how they're determining that, but it's something they have no control over because, as you pointed out earlier, they're operating with impunity over military bases and restricted airspace, which makes no sense that they don't consider that to be a threat or at least a violation of simple national security.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yes. You're right.
Yes. And thank you, Eddie Greenslade, for going ahead and correcting me. The B-52 and Spirit are based out of Fairford, not Mildenhall. Correct. I'd have to say that it's absolutely correct. Now, if I go down to that particular base that Eddie had just brought up, let me go ahead and bring it up. We're bringing up RAF Mildenhall is where we actually have our strategic B-52s and B-2 Spirit bombers. If you look at the length of the runway of what's going on, those are the operations that are going out of Mildenhall. Our F-15s and our F-35s are all based out of RAF Lakenheath. I hope that's correct. I think that's correct because that's the information I had. Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had the information up for how long the...
Well, you bring it up
RAF
and take care of this. Mike, you guys
is.
run it for a second. I have to step away for just about a minute. Go ahead, guys.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. RAF Fairford. The runway is actually over 3 miles long. It's one of the longest runways in the United Kingdom. Yeah, they operate the B-52s and the B-2 and the U-2 plane has also been used from there. So yeah, it's actually not as well used as Mildenhall and Lakenheath, but it's an exceedingly important asset to the U.S. forces. It's where the B-52s were sent when they did the bombing runs from to Iraq. So it's actually it's an exceedingly important U.S. Air Force base in the United Kingdom. It's also capable of flying nuclear assets as well. So yeah, quite an important base.
It is. You're right. But if you have nuclear bombers like the B-52, they need long runways to take off and land. But if you're talking about the F-35 Lightning, they have a F-35 Lightning B model that has vertical takeoff and landing. So they can operate out of a very small airstrip without any problems whatsoever. But yeah, it's interesting that these bases with these type of large aircraft are getting this type of attention from these objects. Something is obviously going on that we're not aware of as far as the public is concerned.
Yeah. And
right,
as I mentioned in the show last night, RAF Fairford is only about 40 miles from where I'm actually to at the moment. So, yeah.
So, have you noticed anything in your area since you're that close to the base when you go outside?
Well, I'm 40 miles away, but so it's quite a distance. But I've been looking in the sky when it's been clear. We've got a very large aerospace, civilian airspace infrastructure we're onto. We've got a large Ministry of Defense, I've not seen anything happening here. So it seems to be at the moment only these mainly for airport, airfields. So it's not actually leached out from those 4 airfields at the moment.
Right. Just to go ahead and get this in here again for the audience, wait, he's right. B-52 are, well, yeah, you were right, my friend. Let me go ahead and bring up the descriptions of what we've got going on here at the bases. RAF Fairford, located in Gloucestershire. Did I get that right?
Pretty near enough, mate. It's good enough for me.
Yes, Gloucestershire, England serves as a pivotal installation for the U.S. Air Force and the RAF, supporting a variety of strategic operations. We make that a little bit bigger so our audience can see this in case you're on a cell phone, because the majority of our audience members are operating on cell phones. Before we get to this, Laura Campbell, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for Andy. What's the general mood like of your fellow countrymen with the war going on and these drone incursions? What's the impression that you have of what they're seeing?
Certainly, there's nobody talking about all of this. We've got enough issues going on with our present government, so I think most people this is back of their mind. It's distant. Okay, we got these potential UAPs off in air bases around the UK, but yeah, most people are more interested in actually what's happening politically at the moment.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you, Laura, and thank you for that answer, my friends. Let's get into this back on RAF Fairford. And yes, I'm running around. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but you know what? We all try to cover this stuff on UAP here on Disclosure Tonight on a regular basis. So RAF Fairford, located in Gloucestershire, serves as a pivotal installation for USAF and RAF. Now, what do they have going on at RAF Fairford? They have strategic bomber operations as a USAF sole European airfield for heavy bombers. That's why they have that 3-mile-long runway that Andy had just brought up a minute ago. RAF Fairford routinely hosts deployments of B-52 Stratofortresses, which they do. That's our B-52 strategic bomber that we now have up in Finland. Our B-1B Lancer and B-2 Spirit aircraft. These deployments, known as Bomber Task Force missions, facilitate integration with NATO allies and demonstrate the U.S. commitment to collective security. For instance, in May 2024, B-52s from the 5th Bomb Wing were deployed to Fairford for BTF Europe 24-3, engaging in training missions across Europe and North Africa. What else do they have going on there? They have intelligence and surveillance and reconnaissance missions. Since September 2019, RAF Fairford has hosted a detachment of U-2S Dragon Lady reconnaissance aircraft from the 99th Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron. These high-altitude ISR missions support U.S. and NATO objectives, providing critical intelligence across the European theater. Now, I have to go ahead and bring this up, Mike, and say there's a good reason why whoever would be wanting to try and get in the way of operations at these bases.
Well, according to the base commanders, there hasn't been any interference of base operations from these objects as of yet.
Well, this wasn't coming from the base commanders. This was coming from our what do you call it? Our representatives in Washington, D.C., which personally, I don't trust those guys.
No, not at all. Not one bit. Not as far as you can throw them.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, you're right.
What else goes on at Fairford? UAS operations, also known as drones. In August 2024, RAF Fairford facilitated the first landing of a U.S. RQ-4 Global Hawk in the United Kingdom, marking a significant advancement in UAS operations from the base. It's amazing a base that specializes in UAS operations is getting brought down by UAP or UAS, Mike.
Isn't that funny? It's ironic. It's a drone base, and they're being overwhelmed with drones that they have no control over.
Oh, it's one of those things you just have to look at and just laugh, my friend.
Yeah, but the also interesting thing about that is because it's a base that specializes in drone technology, if it was prosaic objects, they would know exactly how to take those things down and track them, wouldn't they, Thomas?
Bingo! Again, we've said it many times on the show. I said it earlier today. The United States government has the ability to go ahead and track an object. It's still running. It can't be. and pull. There we go. To track an object from the surface of the Earth out to beyond the moon that's the size of a grapefruit or basketball or larger, right? Which is definitely much smaller than these things they're seeing up in the sky. And if that's the case, they know where those objects are coming from. They know where those objects are going to. And more importantly, they're coming to the bases and where they're going back to. And if that's the case, the government or the United Kingdom should have the ability to go ahead and take these things down.
Oh, without a doubt, they should be able to take it down if it's prosaic in nature.
Yeah.
There's no reason why they wouldn't. But for some reason, these objects are operating with impunity day in, day out, and they can't stop it or identify it.
That's correct, my friend.
Very strange, Thomas.
Yeah. Now, putting our sights back on the United States for a little bit, we've got another sighting that just recently happened in the United States. I believe it's down in Arizona. Let me go ahead and see if I can bring this one up. This one, I have to say, Mike, it almost looks too good to be real.
Well, you know the old saying, if it's too good to be true, it often is.
Right. Let me go ahead and bring this video up for our audience. I know we've been focusing on the UK today, but we do cover everything UAP around the world for that matter. Let me go ahead and bring this one up here. We've got a video of someone that was shared on TikTok. Let me go ahead and get this video here and just go ahead and play it.
There's a red light and then there's a big, big bright light.
They're absorbing around it. I know, Alex.
So we've got an object, apparently aligns with some ones that have been seen before in the past. You've got 1, 2, 3 points of light, and then you've got a fourth one. Now, I have to say this one, although it's a triangular craft itself, Mike, it doesn't align with that TR-3B that we can see coming from DC Muscle Wolf.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I think for our audience members that may not be aware of the DC Muscleworth nickname, we should let them know it's Dr. Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer, yes. If you want to understand more, just search it and you'll find out the nasty details. And yes, that is him as far as I understand.
Correct. We could also play the Greer video that we have if you want.
We don't need to show Greer crying at this point.
Exactly. I meant Bijou. You could show the one with Bijou.
Oh, yeah, we could show that one.
It's getting brighter.
So this one is interesting where, you get along, we're seeing the stuff going on over this thing in Arizona, and they're saying there's another one off to the left that they're potentially seeing, and now you can actually go ahead and see that bright light there that's in the center is now more in the center of the craft than it was before in the upper left-hand corner of it. Hollywood, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was going to say that one looks more like the traditional TR-3B, right? The center light.
Yeah, but if you look back at the beginning of the video, if I get back to the beginning of it and they're zoomed in, that object that's in the center we're potentially looking at 4 different objects. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because if you're looking at where this is, if that was in the center of the object, it should always be in the bottom of it. Center bottom, not off to the side. Right. Now, the biggest thing as we get to the end of the video.
Look to your left. There's another one to the left. Over here in the fucking trees. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck?
That stuff right there, for me, makes it sound like it's fake. Because
it's scripted, it's rehearsed. It sounds like dialogue.
Bro, oh no, look to your left. Look to your left. There's another one to the left. Over here in the fucking trees. What the fuck?
Now, they're saying over to the left, all that kind of stuff going on. The camera's slowly panning to the right, and they rotate the camera midstream. For me, it's an interesting video to say the least, but for the people out there showing it, I would have to say the videos we've been seeing of the UAP going on over Lakenheath is a lot more UAP-ish. Granted, the other one looks good, but what do you call it? It almost looks too good, Mike.
Yeah, too good to be true. And I don't like the fact that they're pointing out with their words about these objects, which somebody that would be experiencing something surprising would not be that articulate about what they're looking at.
Yeah. I mean, you go back to the video we have up on the channel of Nikki X1 going and talking about this stuff, and he's just like, holy shit, and oh my God, kind of a thing going on. Not a lot more realistic than the stuff we've been seeing now. To go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. This is a higher resolution image of what we've got of the video of the objects that were over Lakenheath. This one is a little bit lower resolution coming from a cell phone, but we're getting definite flashing, other things going on. If we go ahead and bring up the other video that we've got happening, this one's a little bit more, I guess, probably because there's a higher end CCD device. That's the actual sensor that is actually being taken. This is from a high-end 35mm camera versus something that's coming from a cell phone that's being recorded. Zoom this one out a little bit. Starting from over the gutter of their house, over the roof of their house, and they take it and they zoom it in. Anytime you're dealing with a small sense and you're trying to bring it in, you're going to get a lot of noise. But what I like about this one is we've got the same configuration, but we're getting more flashing of the lights going on with a similar object, but that flashing isn't there. So we're looking at two different objects that are behaving in a similar manner.
Right. That's what makes sense. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can also, before the end of the show, if you want, play the humans video. We haven't done that in a while.
Oh, God. Wow.
The audience might appreciate that.
I've got to find that one, but yes, we definitely need to.
I agree.
Oh, yeah. A lot of interesting new people coming to the channel today. Remember, if you've been having a good time watching Disclosure tonight, we're on 3 nights a week. You can always watch us on rewatch, depending on where you're at in the world. You know, Mike, we've already had 5,000 views on our broadcast today with over 700 people watching the show right now.
It's amazing. We have the audience that's interested in this content and what it is that we provide for them.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's great. And listen, it's after the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah.
It's a holiday weekend, so people are watching and paying attention to the show. That's
right.
Good news.
Absolutely. For those who have joined us later on, I'm going to go ahead and replay this one little news clip we've got coming from Fox News. Yeah, you know, I have to go ahead and bring this out, Mike, that it's really interesting to say that we've got so many people who are interested in what's going on here, yet there's been almost like a blackout covering this in the regular media.
Oh, mainstream media is not touching this because they don't want to put this out there. They have obviously been told not to make a big deal about this for the public from the government. And Operation Project Mockingbird is still in effect.
Oh, yeah. But they have a similar thing in the United Kingdom we reported on last night, which is called the D-Notice, which is a team up between UK military and the UK media, basically saying we've got something here that's of national security concern. We're giving you this notice because we don't want you as a partner to go ahead and report on this kind of stuff because it's dealing with an issue of national security. In other words, censorship of the media, which coming from the United Kingdom and the Keir Starmer two-tier solution that they've got going on, I would say that's kind of in line with what we understand of what's going on.
Well, it's going on here in the United States as well. Whatever you see going on in the UK, obviously is going on here in the US as well. But it's different because out in the UK, they'll notify the public and you'll be aware of that union, that whole unholy union that they have over there. But it's the same thing with our mainstream news media here as well, but it's not talked about as openly.
Right. So why isn't this being reported in the UK? Well, it's simple. There's something called a D-Notice. A D-Notice is a formal request issued by the United Kingdom government to news editors and media organizations, advising them to withhold publication of specific information for reasons of national security. And that's why if you look at majority of the reporting that's been going on about what's going on over the United Kingdom, no one's going over what's happening at the sites. We're one of the few news outlets that's actually covering this and telling you this is what's happening at these sites, and this is potentially why they're trying to bring them down. It's not legally enforceable. but serves as a voluntary guideline for the press to prevent sensitive information from being disclosed that could potentially harm the country's safety, military operations, or intelligence efforts. What are the key points? Origin. D-Notices were first introduced during World War I to protect military secrets and maintain operational security. Also for voluntary compliance. Let me bring this up a little bit so I can make it higher. Voluntary compliance. Media outlets are not legally obligated to comply, but they generally do so to avoid endangering national security. Andy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I've just noticed Liberty Wing UK is actually in the chat. Welcome, Liberty. You've been doing some great work.
Yeah.
On your channel. Yeah.
Feel free.
Really
hey, Liberty
work.
UK, do us a favor. Follow that link at the top of the chat. Go ahead, jump in the back. We'd love to have you go ahead and talk about what's going on, about the censorship that you hit on YouTube and how you were taken down initially on your first channel. We'd love to hear from you, my friend. You've been doing a phenomenal service to everyone in the world to go ahead and bring the truth out, and for not managing the quote-unquote voluntary compliance and doing your job to bring out the truth in the UK. Oh, he's driving at the moment.
Well, he could still jump in the back on the link and talk on the phone, and we could promote his show as well to our audience. So he might as well come in. It would be an interesting conversation.
Oh, gosh,
we'd love to have you.
Yeah. Well, about to. There we go. Pull over. The audience wants to hear from him. Let's continue. Scope. They very often concern matters such as military operations, intelligence activities, counterterrorism measures, and the identities of security personnel. Probably not going on in this one. Let's move on a little bit more. What else goes on with the D-Notice, and why are they trying to keep it out of the public eyes? Modern system. Since 1993, D-Notices have been replaced by the DSMA Notice System, which stands for Defense and Security Media Advisory Notice, which functions similarly and reflects contemporary security concerns. Well, there are security concerns because their security sucks. The DSMA Notice Committee, composed of government officials and media representatives, oversees the issuance of these notices and maintains communications with the press to balance public interest and national security. Clearly what we're talking about here, Mike, is censorship.
Well, anytime that you have a government that is restricting information from the public, or do not want the press to report on it, that's absolutely censorship.
Yeah,
that's without a doubt. They are curbing the speech of people who report on this and the public from being aware of it.
Which does not surprise me, considering it's coming from the UK. And if you have concerned citizens who are reporting on what's going on in the street and they take to social media, they're being locked up and being apprehended in front of their houses at 4 o'clock in the morning and being hauled off to jail.
Which is horrible that they're doing that to their citizens. It really is. It's supposed to be a democracy over there. That doesn't sound like a democracy to me, that they're curbing it. See, at least, say what you will about the United States, but we can go and put the show on and say what we want. We're not getting our door kicked in at 4 in the morning. So at that point, at least they're not going to put their foot down as hard as they do overseas, which is unfortunate to the citizens like Andy. That's why we have Andy that joins us on the show regularly.
Yeah. Well,
freedom of speech.
If we look at what's going on, Mike, clearly UAP is a global situation. It's not just going on in the United States. If you look back and turn back the clocks of time and see what was going on over the Air Force Base, Langley Air Force Base, which is a big CIA operations location, in addition to being something from the Air Force, we have to look at that and understand that there was probably nuclear things going on at that base. And I believe it was about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, the United States government announced that they're going to start moving some of the nuclear arms from the United States to the United Kingdom. And shortly after that happened, boom, we get all the UAPs showing up in Europe, which wherever there's any kind of nuclear activity going on, clearly it's something that actually gets all tied up with UAP showing up because they're attracted to nuclear material for whatever reasons we don't understand.
Right. That obviously is the case. But the good news with that is because they're making their presence known, it identifies to us that there's activity going on that our government and other governments around the world don't want the public to know about.
No.
So it's the silver lining in the cloud, the way I see it.
It's just a cover-up that we all get tired of. And even though we have Lou Elizondo hanging out in the United Kingdom right now, there's something else we haven't covered yet, Mike, is what's going on with David Grusch. It seems like there's been some leaks coming out with regards to his ICIG complaint that got him in front of the House of Representatives last year because they had said that his
was
testimony...
credible. Right. His testimony and his testimony before the Inspector General for the intelligence community was a credible threat that should be immediate and discussed with Congress directly, which he did at the hearing last year. And now it seems that they have wrapped up their investigation into his claims. That was the point you were making, right, Thomas?
Correct. Yes, they've wrapped up the investigation. And what was it? There's still more questions they're finding. They haven't shut it down, but it sounds like they've concluded their investigations, but there's more unanswered questions.
They concluded the investigation, and the statement was that it didn't answer any of the questions that were raised by David Grusch, but it did, for some reason, create even more questions that need to be looked at.
Yeah.
But obviously not by them because they have concluded their investigation from the ICIG.
Really quickly, Andy W. in our chat has gone ahead and shared a link to Liberty Wing UK, who has been having a live stream up. He's got cameras out there. We've shown some of the footage that he's recorded on the show today, and he's got a great UAP. He's got a great channel that's focusing on trying to bring out the truth about UAP. Now, I believe in about 20 minutes or so, we should still be going. Liberty Wing UK is going to be coming on the show to go ahead and discuss some of the things that he's been recording and witnessing firsthand. It should be exciting, Mike.
Oh, it'll be a great conversation, Thomas. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, same
the audience,
here.
I'm sure, will appreciate it.
Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, if me button will work. Yeah, Liberty Wing, absolutely brilliant service they've been providing with footage of these incidents. It's really great to have somebody on the boots on the ground around Lakenheath and Milton Hall areas. I'm fairly close to Fairford, but unfortunately time doesn't allow me time to get out there. So
yeah.
If you're out there, you've been doing a really good job, my friend.
Well,
Thank
hopefully
you,
you can get in contact. He's not that far away from where you are, literally by a stone's throw in the United Kingdom. Things are a lot more condensed in the United Kingdom than they are in the United States. If you can get in contact with him and open up communications, that'll be great, Andy.
We'll try and link up.
Oh, definitely. Would love to get you involved in this because you've seen triangular craft in the past over your overhead, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had the one triangle back in '91, but I've seen many other different things, prosaic or not. But yeah, that's what got me into this subject, and been part of this show again for the last few years. So yeah. Think things are really, really heating up here in the UK with whatever the hell's happening. It's happening in America that's really picking up as well. So I think we're on for an interesting time at the moment.
It certainly looks that way, but didn't they include your account in a book as well, Andy?
They did. I forget the name of the author now. But it's UK Triangles. I'll have to look it up. The book's upstairs somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas, I'm going to have to step away shortly. I shall return.
Sure, sounds great, my friends. Yeah, we all have those things. We've been going for over almost 2 hours now, going ahead and covering this. Usually we have a shorter show on Saturdays, but there's a lot of interest in what's going on, to say the absolute least. On that note, I want to go ahead and take a look at, I know I've got a bunch of good feeds in my X account with regards to what's been going on. You know, it's
There's no clouds.
Shh, quiet.
So there are more videos. I know we recently covered the video of what was going on in Arizona. Apparently, there are more videos going ahead and showing up of what was going on at the site in Arizona. So this is just another shot of the videos from somebody else of showing we've got the UAP moving around in the sky. This one shows we've got two that are close to each. Oh, actually, you can't. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. You can't see it. And let's move into this. Let's go ahead and play the original video here. This is someone else. This actually takes what's been going on in Arizona and moves it up a little bit in the list of reality, because now we've got someone else who's showing the object of what's moving around. But then here you're going to see it shooting up higher into the sky and getting smaller, which kind of takes the overall reality of the subject. As soon as you start getting more people showing up and seeing the videos, Andy, that the reality of what we're dealing with greatly increases. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. You know, the likes, again, of people like Liberty Wing, you know, are there in the UK, you know, filming these objects. You've got people in America who are capturing these objects. You know, the night vision quality of phone cameras is right. Finally actually on certain phone cameras getting better. So we're able to nighttime catch much better images nowadays.
Right.
Yeah. We still need better quality night vision or night cameras.
Yeah, but what comes down to it, this is really aligns with what Elon Musk is saying, as we're coming down to the era of citizen journalism, meaning that it's not coming down to the lamestream or mainstream media to go ahead and bring out the truth. It's coming down to people like me, like you, like Mike, and everybody else that's out there, and people who are watching the show right now. If you see something, record it and share it, because that's what's going to bring the truth out.
It's a wonder of modern technology with computers, you know, that we're able to have a community, you know, on YouTube of like-minded people who can actually call into a show like this. You've got people who are out there doing, you know, recording, and the mainstream media, we all know, you know, here in the UK, you had the BBC, which in my lifetime, you know, was the highlight. It was a pinnacle of broadcasting. Now in the UK, it's more of a laughing stock. I'm really sad to say. It is coming down to more localized, more YouTube, more X-based,
you
know, news reporting. We're not getting the main players are losing their base. You know, they've taken a political or liberal way of portraying the news. You know, people are out there doing it for themselves, and yeah, it's a wonderful time.
Yeah. Now, I do have another video here of something coming out from Hollywood, a person who sent them, a local resident, that gives us a little bit of video coming from near LAKENHEATH from their back garden. You can clearly see three lights on this drone. Let's go ahead and take a look at this footage. Let me go ahead and bring this up here, Andy. Let me go ahead and play this clip here. Here we go. And again, we've got something from the distance. It looks like we've got something with one light. It looks like a regular orange orb going on. But as they're moving around, we're actually seeing that there's actually two lights behind it to kind of match to the other videos that we've been seeing recently. So again, we're seeing the same thing coming from multiple people throughout the United Kingdom that aligns to the situation we've been dealing with.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there seems to be more people talking about these subjects. You know, we've had in the last year, we've had the incidents in North America and Alaska. You know, that people are talking about this subject. It's not that we're tinfoil hat wearing crazies now. It's far more mainstream. You see it a lot more in the news, and in the mainstream news.
Tinfoil
actually,
hats? What's
unbelievably.
wrong with that? Usually we're supposed to be taking the tinfoil hats and passing it to the people who don't believe, Andy. And that's, I think, where we're at.
It seems to be there are more people who are, if not believing, actually it's opening up to a more worldwide population that are actually talking about it. And that's, if anything, that's brilliant. I certainly don't wear a tinfoil hat, you know, and I'll talk about it. People can think I'm crazy, but, you know, if we don't talk about this, it gets swept under the carpet like everything else.
Yeah.
So best to have it out in the open.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Well, turning back the clock just 4 days ago, we have UFOs have been reported near Picatinny, New Jersey Weapons Research Center in Jefferson Township, New Jersey. How about that? So again, more UAP showing up in areas where nukes are. It's not just in the UK. We've got it there. We've got it over a Duke nuclear power plant that happened the last couple days. We've got it here where it's showing up over a nuclear weapons research facility. So, you know, I hope this, honestly, Andy, isn't a precursor to a nuclear war that's coming our way, and the non-human intelligence is doing their job to try and make us aware of what's going on.
Yeah, and end of the day, you know, let's get down to brass tacks on this. You know, it's a very, very small amount of people who actually cause the initial problems in the world. Most of us, every one of us in this chat, whether you're a believer, whether you're one of the patrols sitting out there, you know, we're just trying to go about our daily lives. You know,
yeah.
I you know, if these things exist, the powers that be, we know you're watching. Hello out there, yeah. You're probably in the chat at the moment. You know, Susan Goff's colleagues and things. You know, if it's a genuine issue, then we're at a point in the time where we're the closest we've been to, you know, potential nuclear war since before my time, before my birth. So, you know, I think the vast majority of the people on this planet have a right to know when there's only a handful of people that are actually causing the issues.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah.
Well, turning our sights back on the United States, Andy, if we can, we have a Ask a Poll exclusive coming in here talking about Representative Grothman's takeaway from the November 13th UAP hearing. Quote, "We'll have to threaten them with legislation, but I have a feeling that our new up-and-coming executive branch transition from the Biden administration to back to the Trump administration, that we're going to have some interesting information coming our way." Nick, before I get too far, you have your hand up? I'll move on. Here we go. Go ahead.
NHI can't stop a nuclear war, Thomas. They can't stop a nuclear war and reveal themselves. Like, do you believe that they can do that?
Probably not. Did they stop the United States from dropping two different nuclear bombs on Japan in the past? No, they haven't.
They didn't.
They've done things to go ahead and show the United States that, yes, we can prevent you from launching your weapons, and to the Russians, or back in Ukraine back in the day, we can go ahead and take your nuclear weapons and put them on an automatic launch protocol. They've done some other things to potentially say they could stop stuff, but the reality of it is, has there been great natural disasters, there's been wars, there's been famines, there's been situations of mass genocide of humans caused by humans. The non-human intelligence has never stepped in. So will they step in? It'd be nice, but I don't think they're here to clean up our mess. They're more of an operations. Let's watch what happens. Let's continue on with this clip coming in from Representative Grothman, coming from Ask a Poll.
Welcome to the Ask a Poll UAP podcast. I'm your host, Matt Lasher, and give us a like. Start up, continue changing Washington, one interview at a time. And now, here's our latest Ask a Poll exclusive from your U.S. Capitol. I've given you space. Old school reporter. I let other reporters have, I don't team up. What's your thoughts on the, how the UAP hearing went last week?
Well, I guess we're going to have to do some more work because they didn't tell us enough information.
Yeah. What? Now that you guys have carried on this investigation, how do you think you dislodge some of that information?
Well, I guess we'll have to threaten them with legislation.
Yeah. It seems like that's...
Well, the truth of the matter is they're worried about trying to get answers out of, quote unquote, the executive branch. But we have a transition coming in. We were in a lame duck administration coming from the Biden administration who has not been playing along with UAP disclosure. And we're looking at this situation, understanding that with what's coming ahead of us, that roadblock that's been there to keep us from getting the truth is going to be it's going to be shut down. So let's continue.
Do you, did anyone in the incoming Trump administration reach out after it?
No.
No.
Well, we're still waiting for our contacts, so I'll talk to them.
Not reaching out to Mar-a-Lago, unfortunately. Grothman, you're running behind the times.
Trump people about a lot of things.
Yeah. Do you think you guys are successfully building a case between them and then GRUSCH's testimony last summer?
Well, I mean, we're building a case that they obviously don't like to tell us what's going on. That's what we're building a case of.
You wish they were more open?
When you talk about things that are over 20 years old, come on.
Yeah. Could you guys change a whistleblower law? Because it seems like a lot of them are afraid.
I'm not sure that's the problem.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that's the problem.
So asking if we need to change whistleblower laws, meaning we need to get more protection for whistleblowers. But Grothman, who's coming across, is saying, no, that's not the problem.
The problem is just...
But in the new year, this issue's not going away?
No, I don't think the public will let it go away.
Yeah. I'll be watching, sir. Appreciate you. Thanks for listening to Ask a Poll.
All right. So not a lot coming out of that one, but it's clearly news that's specific into the times of what's going on. Oh, let's go ahead and get back to my away view. Mike, are you still with us or are you still stepped away? I think Mike actually dropped out. How about that? Oh, yes, Smoke. Good girl, friend. Good girl. On that note, what a great show, what a great opportunity to hang out with friends. Let me see if there's anything else we haven't covered on Disclosure tonight. You know, there's a lot of stuff we try to cover with up-to-date on UFOs and what's going on in the news cycle. It's always something we try to keep present for all of our subscribers and people who are just interested in the overall UFO topic. Let me take a look here at my bookmarks if there's anything else that I've missed. Eric Roth and the Gurus just gave us a super chat. Awesome show. Looking forward on what's to come. I think I'm right along there with you, my friend. Anything new? No, I think we've about covered everything that's going on that note. I want to thank everybody for coming out to today's episode of Disclosure Tonight. Holy cow, we've had a great audience, great reception. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, do us a favor, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We'd love to have you here as a regular here on Disclosure Tonight. We do this 3 nights a week, Monday, Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific, and Saturdays at 10 p.m. London Standard Time, 11 p.m. Europe time. My God, what a great show. What a great opportunity to hang out with friends and talk about UFOs. More importantly, I want to go ahead and thank everybody who's come out here today and give us some super chats. Where is that at? Let me go ahead and find that one. Oh, not there. Where'd it go? Did I lose it? All right, come on. We're getting there. All right, let's go ahead and do this. I want to thank our friends who have given us super chats today. We're a fan-funded program. Every dollar that comes in goes back into our production of Disclosure Tonight. What am I talking about? Let's go ahead and thank our friends who have given us some super chats tonight, including Eric Roth and the Gurus, another YouTube account. Freezerman71, Brian Pemble, April R. Coleman, Laura Campbell, once, not once, but twice, and Shelly Montgomery. Thank you, everybody, for love and support of everything we do here at Disclosure tonight. We're humbled and thankful for all your love and supports of everything we do to try and bring the truth about UFOs out. Remember, if you haven't liked and subscribed, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, do us a favor, my friends. Hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you here as a regular on Disclosure tonight. More importantly, would you look at that, 625 people still hanging out? What a great show. What a great opportunity to hang out with our friends and talk about UAP. More importantly, I want to thank all of our friends in the chat, because the chat is where it's at. I want to thank everybody who's been in the chat talking. AK, Andrew AI, Andy W, Anonymous Rex, Brian Pemble, Country Carpenter, David Williams, Dennis Benke, Eli McGinnis, Eric Roth and the Gurus, Firefly, Frank Einstein, Gabier Yarhala, Greg Howe, Ian Watts Official, Jan, Kathy, Kayak 1969P, Kelly Broden's Piercing Blue Eyes, King Bull, Liberty Wing, United Kingdom, Marcus Mandel, Metal Gaming, Mike Faro, Paul DeMond, Peggy and her South Florida friends. I knew you'd be here. Along with say hi to Crockett and Tubbs and give Steve a big hug for me. Rough Freddy's been around, Scowling Wolf, Narf McGrew, Stephen Forbes Jr., Wildcat Mahone, and Dead Fish Cheese Spread. And my friend Liberty Wing UK will still be going in the back chat after the show's over. My friend, do us a favor, follow that link we've sent you before, join the back. We'd love to have you up the conversation on what's been going on in the United Kingdom. Remember, we're the only show out there that actually goes ahead and actually allows you to call into the show that lets us know what's going on. And more importantly than just the people in the chat, I want to thank all the people that have been in the back today to help this conversation coming along so well. Andy W., thank you for all your help today. It's been phenomenal.
My pleasure, Thomas. What a great show, and I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Have a safe weekend, and we'll see you back here soon, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. Corporal Abe, thanks for coming out, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me. Can't wait till the next show. Love you guys. Good
absolutely. Night. Greg O'Brien, thanks for being here.
Thomas, my friend, the truth shall make us bulletproof.
Enjoy you better believe it, my friend. As I would say, Greg, where are you? Thank you for coming in, my friend. Also, Laura Campbell, thank you for coming in today, Laura, and for your questions.
Thank you, Thomas. Another good show. Very informative.
Thank you, Mocha. Thanks for being here. Also want to thank Michael Sukloff. Thanks for coming out, my friend.
Anytime, Thomas. Anytime. It's a great show tonight.
Nick, thanks for being here, my friend. None of your business. Appreciate the questions, my dear lady. Ali Alvian, all the way from Sweden, my friend. Thanks you for coming here, my friend. Syrup, keep it pouring.
You bet you're bippy.
There you go.
Yeah, good show tonight, Thomas. We appreciate you guys.
Yes, thank you. And as we, Tia Loreno, thanks for coming out, my dear lady. And as we usually say at the end of Disclosure...
Thanks for having me, Thomas. It was awesome.
There we go. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone. Wrong one. Eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone, but...
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you in the flip side. Good night, everybody. Y'all come back now here. See you soon. Bye-bye.